or liberation just have vastly different understandings of what liberation is for.
I haven't seen this much importance and attention.
The story itself is a really wonderful, really great setup.
Tractor beam has been engaged.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tractor Beam Comics Reviews, your one-stop shop for in-depth commentary and discussion on this week's Star Wars comics. It is Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. It's 28th week of comics in 2025. I'm Matthew, coming to you from Underworld North Studios in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Joining me back from his temporary, momentary foray into Detective Comics, this other label, other enemy lines, is Chris Abbott. There in Superman, Smallville, New Jersey.
Yeah, oh man, James Gunn pulled it off, man. I love the movie. I thought it was great. I already have tickets to see it a second time in IMAX. That's how much I like it. The only other movies I've seen like that are Star Wars movies, to put that clearly out there. So that's besides me missing the first 25 minutes. All right, if it wasn't for that, I would actually see it again. But this is the problem in America when they have us trained to believe that a movie starts like 25 minutes after it actually says.
Really?
And then you show up and it's like, wait a minute. It looks like they're like a quarter into the movie already. Oh, crap.
That's why you got to get your butt in the seat on time.
I have the opposite problem with my theaters. Every time I go, I'm there early, 3 o'clock, and it's like, 20 minutes of trailers.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. That's usually 20 minutes of trailers. But apparently not for this one. All right. Good to know. As you can hear, if you're listening to the audio, if you can see the video, joining us is our resident sequelist, Mr. Joel Davis. Joel, how are you doing on this Wednesday evening?
Good, and as a DC fan for many years of my childhood, it's exciting to know that maybe finally a DC movie franchise will be successful at last. I'm excited. I'm excited.
You see this red rectangle here? It says Marvel. Marvel. Fantastic Four. I am going to see Superman, so I'm sure it's great. I just like to have brand loyalty, non-rational, tribalist brand loyalty.
Oh gosh,
it's a joke. Obviously, I'm more excited for Fantastic Four. I'm super excited.
I'm excited for that too. I mean, it's like a whole new Avengers team basically in that movie, right? Like it's like a whole. Yeah. I like that vibe. We're getting an ensemble cast introduced for the first time to the MCU, so. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing how, because we all seen Thunderbolts, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
So we know they get to the other Earth. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they get there. You know.
Yeah. Anyways,
I'm excited for very colorful superhero movies. Both seem very wacky and colorful and fun. So
yes, a lot of blues.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, Star Wars comics. Let's bring it back. We'll have plenty of different avenues to talk all about all these other films that have come out, including we talked about Jurassic World on Monday. It's good. But let's get to the plugs out of the way. You can follow us on Blue Sky. I should fix that ticker down there. Well, it's primarily Blue Sky, Ion Cannon, just at ioncannon.bisky.social. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at Ion Cannon Pod and at the SWU for the flagship. And you can follow everything Chris is doing over on Star Raptor. That's youtube.com/Star Raptor, StarRapter, and at Star Raptor on the Bird app on Twitter. There we go. We are also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, wherever, welcome. Watching live. If you prefer to listen, audio only, right after we are done this, or if we're done recording, I will throw this up onto Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and for your listening pleasure, for your audio pleasure, whatever listening pleasure, if you're driving, if you're walking, if you're however you like to consume podcasts, we've got you covered. Search Tractor Beam Comics Reviews there. Last but not least, we are proudly part of the Star Wars Underworld Podcast Network. Check out everything going around the podcast, including, of course, the Ion Cannon podcast. This past Monday, Joel and I talked about America in Star Wars. This coming Monday, we're talking about Trials of the Jedi. I'm going to finish it. We'll pick that up again at the end. Also, check out the flagship and what they're up to, and the race side, and everything around the network, and also, of course, the Discord server. And the link down below, you can find it in the description down below. Find a minty fresh link that will get you into our Discord server, where we're talking all about Jurassic World, I'm sure, all about Superman, all about Fantastic Four. Oh yeah, and about Star Wars. Anything, continuing having conversations about Star Wars. Got films, TV, paper canon, streaming, etc., video games, all of the above. You got a comment, you got a question about the galaxy far, far away in there, feel free to drop in. And the water's fine, and some events happening coming right up around the corner. Joel, glad you're here to give us a lowdown on what's going on in the Discord server.
That's right. We're going to be having a movie night, and I did check with Ben, so we will be having it. His Netflix works. Hooray. We will be watching the new Netflix animated movie, K-Pop Demon Hunters. It's an original
awesome.
animated movie about a Korean girl pop trio who fight demons. Apparently really good.
There we go. Sounds riveting. Sounds actually pretty wild.
Hey, whatever happened to the Young Jedi Adventures watch party thing?
We got lazy.
We'll all the way from the beginning and go all the way to the Rise of Skywalker here. What's going on?
It was quite ambitious, wasn't it?
We're still going at it, just very slowly. We'll get back to that.
You'll get to Phantom Menace eventually. There we go. All right. So we got 2 comic books to go through, but the way we're going to do this, because they're Legacy Vader 5 and 6, what we're going to do is we're going to do the usual publisher summaries, and then I got some notes, and so kind of go sort of beat by beat. Some things are kind of moved around more like story chunks, if you will, but not entirely in order. You'll see what I mean. But yeah, it'll be kind of more character confrontation. So kind of Ion Cannon style. But let's dive in here. Legacy of Vader, numbers 5 and 6, of course, written by the inimitable Charles Soule. Art by Stefano Raffaelli. At number 5, the art by Stefano Raffaelli. Number 6, the art is by Luke Ross. Colors by Nolan Woodard. Letters by VC's Joe Caramagna. And covers by Derek Chu. I should say covers, plural. Number 5, Target. Naboo, Kylo Ren, and the First Order begin the assault of Naboo. But what strange games the young tyrant playing with the fates of the people there? What lesson has Kylo learned from Darth Vader's past? Then moving on to number 6, Kylo Ren tracks down one of the last Order 66 survivors. After the brutal takeover of Corellia, Kylo Ren begins a new quest. The young tyrant begins his search for one of the last of the Order 66 surviving Jedi. Who is this mysterious Jedi, and how did she escape the brutal takedown of her people? Pretty exciting, pretty fun pair of comic books, 2 very different stories, I should say. But let's dive through. So, again, the way I'm going to do this, got some, just I'll help you see how I'm going to go through this. So, we got this setup. We start with this First Order invasion of Naboo. CO, is that you, CO Bibble? A little bit of a callback to CO Bibble there. This, of course, continues from the previous issue where Kylo Ren has named himself King of Naboo, and he's gone there to wreak some havoc and do something. We don't quite know what he's up to until we see it. So there's this First Order invasion, and Hux is there commanding the fleet, and yet here's this wild moment. Undercover Kylo Ren, he leads this underground revolt on Naboo, and it's very, very Andor-esque, and that's the setup there. We'll get into more. He does call down an orbital bombardment on himself. We'll get into what that might mean in a little bit, but first off, Chris, I'll throw this to you. What do you think of this setup, this callback to Phantom Menace, this new city of Spinnaker on Naboo, and then the concept of Kylo Ren going undercover there?
Yeah, I actually was just looking at my notes and I realized, I also wrote down City of Spinnaker. That's a new addition to the lore of Naboo. We have I think there's another city at least we know, Hadagunga, stuff like that. But it's cool to get like Sky Country, we knew that was a different place. But yeah, we're expanding the universe here. I really like seeing the First Order in force.
Mhm.
I love seeing the iconography of like the landing vehicles and the ties and the First Order gear, and just that aesthetic of the First Order on Naboo is kind of surreal
Yeah.
to think about. Like, yeah, there were stormtroopers there. Now we have First Order stormtroopers, but way back in the day, we had B-1 battle droids walking around. So we get to see like the times have changed, and these people always are occupied from some nation or organization of some degree. So it's just a different time, but the same old crap, really.
Yeah.
And as far as the Kylo Ren storyline, I was just confused, honestly, because it doesn't even seem like he knows what he's doing, and Vanée is calling him out on that. So I don't like, and this just adds to, I think, just the idiocracy of the character. Like we love to hate him, but it's like, I mean, it's done like purposely, so we just think the guy's a joke,
Yeah.
an idiot, because like, oh, he's like, this is the only way I could possibly like hurt myself or something. It's weird. I'm
Yeah.
happy.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
Because I don't really understand that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, my thoughts were kind of like, oh, cool. I like seeing the First Order, but where is this story going?
Yeah. I mean, that point you make about that they're always under occupation somehow, right? Like, is it the Trade Federation? Is it the Empire? Is it the First Order? Kind of gives some credence to his cover story, Kylo's cover story, wanting to toughen them up, wanting to treat them, teach them how to defend themselves, kind of almost like Anakin on Onderon a little bit, and some other places, almost the Seven Samurai thing. But you're right; it's this weird undercut. Like he isn't fully conscious, aware of what he's doing. And again, we'll get to the whole confrontation with Vanée in a bit. But Joel, throws to you this setup with this First Order invasion. What'd you think? What stood out to you there?
I think what stood out to me, and I'll also get into this in the next one because it's sort of an ongoing thing, is just how I think it really shows the limitation of the First Order and really making us see their strength and weakness, and how when you add the movie into account, the First Order really need just quote unquote won by just going full force, and they just like, okay, we gotta go, we gotta get this done quick, and then we gotta blow up Parsing Prime, take over, and then we'll win. But then once it's like, oh wait, shoot, people are fighting back. We don't actually have the resources for that. Like we're only good for like a quick internal strike, and then hopefully everyone surrenders. And it's like, oh no, we can't handle long-term rebellion. It's not we're not that strong.
Yeah.
So I think it really goes to show the First Order's limitations compared to the Empire, which I've gone into before in tweets and whatnot, and posted some stuff on Facebook, which you can see about how the First Order really is different from the Empire. And like, they look like the Empire, and they're definitely, you don't want to mess with them. You don't want to mess with them, but they are not as big and resourceful as the Empire was, and you are seeing that. And I'll just say about Kylo's character, because that's what this is about. I'll just say I'm glad someone always calls him out on his weirdness, because I feel like if no one did, then I would question the book in the writer and Charles Soule himself. But like, okay, characters are at least calling Kylo out on his BS.
Yeah.
So that there's intention there. It's like, okay, someone is like us, like Kylo, buddy, what are you doing? This ain't Emperor. I don't know what this is. So yeah, very interesting, very bizarre, but I love it, kind of.
Yeah. They're good.
I was gonna say, Kylo reminds me of like a maybe less crazier Markion Rowe, and that was what I was connecting with, because maybe I was reading Trials of the Jedi and this at the same time. I'm like, is Charles Soule channeling a little Markion here, but maybe less crazy? That was the vibe I got. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get to the moment where he's going full Markion, I think, in a bit. But yeah, I mean, that's true, right? So I mean, here's a bit of a teaser spoiler for the way I've structured this. It's the setup, and then it's Vanée is confronting Kylo, and then Hux is confronting Kylo. And that's basically how these two issues work and what happens. I do say, even though the cover story is still interesting, the whole undercover underground revolt on Naboo. I love seeing those uglies, almost like it's the canon version of the Lego thing where there's like the tie with the X-wing nose and then different.
Uglies are a legend concept, I think, too.
Yeah, definitely, definitely an Uglies kind of thing.
You've seen a lot of that in the Poe Dameron ongoing comic.
Yeah,
series.
that's true. The N1 with the tie lasers in there, or not the X-wing lasers was pretty bonkers. Also, this is the funniest thought I had about this is like Kylo going undercover to see how the First Order works, what's going on, how it operates. Charles Soule has given us the canon version of Matt the Radar Technician. Come on.
I didn't even think
It
about
really
that.
is.
That's where I went to that, which is so funny. I mean, I find it funny. I don't know if you guys find it funny, but I found that just so hilarious that he actually went there.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah.
So, yeah, to his point, he's kind of unhinged, and Vanée confronts him on this. You can move into this second chunk and spend a bit more time on this, I think. Vanée confronts him, and confronts him again. Like he's continually prodding him throughout this run, and he asks Kylo, the undercover revolt and the orbital bombardment, why are you doing this? And Vanée's answer it's almost a rhetorical thing, right? Because he doesn't accept the cover story. He doesn't accept, I'm trying to toughen these people up. No, it's Vader tried to erase his past too, and did it by trying to erase himself. Putting himself into missions. We see in the next issue, we'll see his duel with Carrick Infala. Little reminder: Charles Soule, 2017, wrote this, wrote the story of Vader in this time period, where he was also kind of unhinged and trying to unsure, and didn't have the sense of what he needed to do to grow in the dark side, and tried to let go of basically losing Padme and losing Obi-Wan and losing Ahsoka, that he tried to shove it away. And Vanée says, well, we are our pasts, whether we like it or not. And this is still my commentary here, but the implication is, Kylo Ren's trying to let the past die. Vader learned to gain strength in the dark side from his past, from his grief, his anger at losing Padme, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka, his sense that the Jedi had failed him. Even, we go to the image that makes our background here. This is, of course, just after A New Hope. The sense that Palpatine is not up to snuff either. Palpatine's failed him, and that's the dark side. Is you can actually gain power, by the chains being broken, and so this setting up really this lesson that Kylo Ren ultimately, hopefully, has to pick up. Joel, I'll throw this to you. Just in that little conversation before we get to thinking about the vault or anything like that, but this conversation about Vader's relationship to the past versus Kylo Ren's relationship to the past. What struck you about that?
I think something that's important to remember about Vader's relationship to the past versus Kylo's is Vader really did have nothing. His body was destroyed. Padme was dead. He thought his kids were dead. There was really nothing for Vader to have outside of Palpatine. Leia's still very much alive.
Yeah.
Rey's still very much alive, and much he wants to not admit it. So already Kylo Ren has a lot more to go back to in some weird way. We can talk about whether or not even if he got got executed. I don't think he'd be executed because maybe Leia would have pulled some strings, but I'm sure Leia would have.
Yeah.
If he went down to exile or something on October, I'm sure Rey and Leia would have visited him.
What Benemption looks like, basically, we have a Benemption potential, right?
Yeah, but very much. But my point is, there's more for Kylo to kind of have already, even though Han's dead, and that's kind of the big thing that's always haunting him. you know, it is interesting as well that, you know, I think, you know, I kind of think that the whole helping the Naboo thing is sort of also like this kind of weird. I got a tough, like, I think there's almost like a twisted heroism in Ben Solo. Where like, no, I want to toughen these people up. You know, I gotta toughen the Naboo up so that they don't stop getting occupied every century, at quarter century, like they can fight back. And there's and I think there's like that twisted heroism
Right.
in there as well of like he it's like, because I've always said Ben Solo is naturally more a good guy, but he's trying to be something he's not. He is like, you know, I think that was, you know, if you ever rewatch Force Awakens, Matthew, I think you can take this from that movie. He's naturally inclined towards the light side, and he's trying so hard to not be. You know, again, it's the I feel it again, call to the light. Like that's what I take away from what he's doing. It's like it's that call to the light,
That's
and he's trying to twist it into something dark, and it's like and he gets mad at himself. It's like, no, I don't want to do good things. I'm a bad guy. I do bad guy stuff. I don't help people. Kill.
Yeah.
So it's almost like this unhinged, like, you want to do good, and then I get mad I do good, and then I just lose my temper. So it's like this weird cycle. And compared to Vader, who was just so broken and defeated, like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
For choke, die.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting just that contrast playing out. You know, so clearly then Vanée would want to undermine that, right? As a servant of the dark, you'd want to undermine that pull to the light. But you know, so partly Vané's not willing to accept the cover story because it represents that imbalance. Even Snoke in Last Jedi, you know, still too much of your father in you. No, so Chris, what do you think of this whole conversation about Vader in the past and not letting it die, but letting it fuel you?
Yeah, I thought it was a good justification and a logical step forward. I think that, you know, this is called obviously Legacy of Vader. So this is the crux of the story. How is Darth Vader relating to his grandson, Kylo Ren? Yeah. So we're getting to see that back and forth. And as much as he thinks he is Darth Vader's grandson, he is definitely not in the same headspace as you guys both pointed out. But yeah, it's a great idea in general that Charles Soule came up with this comic book series, as you know, going back to the concept art of this Jedi killer looking at Vader's helmet before we even knew who he was. Yeah. Like, oh, what's the fascination with Vader? So here we are, 6 issues in, and we're getting to see, like, why he was the way he was from a certain degree, and getting to see, as much as I want to believe it, like, they are quite different. So it's another good conversation to see in this one.
Yeah. So I forgot where I was going to go with that. I got the spam comment here. There we go. So we can then move forward. Yeah, I guess we can go. Distracted, all that stuff. We can then move forward into this question of, you know, where we actually get the or Joel, you want to jump in?
No, I'm waving hi, Tyler.
I'm translating my poor Spanish. I think I understand what he's saying.
Is it a real comment? Okay, all right. Yeah, so we get the first time we actually get the phrase Vader's legacy, and in this actual physical instantiation of it. So Vanée promises to help Kylo open a vault in Vader's castle that contains all the power you could want, but only when he's ready, right? Only when he's ready. Clearly, he isn't, and we'll get into that in a second. But I have this dialogue. Kylo effectively, I think maybe mind trick. He got the point going on. You will give it to me now, and Vanée replies, "No, you would destroy it and yourself, as you're attempting to do here. I would rather die than pass Vader's legacy to one who is unworthy of it." And then, you know, in the meantime, he offers to find Kylo Ren in order to make him worthy and help him be worthy. Find an adversary, a worthy adversary that will challenge him. That, you know, he can remember killing, as opposed to all these poor saps on Naboo or whoever else. And of course, at the end of issue number 6, leads him to the threshold. Right? Is the hero's journey, almost like the villain's journey here. The threshold of a duel with a Jedi survivor. Again, this is the thing to talk about, of Order 66, and leaves him with this comment: the hunt is the thing, right? The process of going through the slow journey of finding the person. Of course, it doesn't take that long, but what he ends up, I can imagine going forward, what he ends up encountering within himself as he encounters this Jedi that he has to duel with, that might actually lead him to become worthy again. At least we'll see the kind of thing that Vanée is hoping for, at least. So the point is, and I think you both touched on this. Chris, I think kind of your frustration with this issue, this arc a little bit. Yeah, like Kylo Ren, he is he's more, if anything, he's Luke in A New Hope, he's Anakin in Attack of the Clones, but it's a whole nother year, right? He's this immature, petulant, wants the quick, even in Empire Strikes Back, wants the quick answer, and that's the whole
Clones Anakin, but if he were Emperor.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's wanting the quick, you'll give it to me now. Let's just get rid of the past and not actually face it and sit with it and let it teach us. Of course, Vanée wants him to learn the wrong lessons, but that's the story. And that's the question of what, again, the legacy of Vader is. And I think we have it again, this implication in this whole conversation with the past. We don't know what's in this vault. I'm guessing it isn't some MacGuffin. It might have to be something to do with. It might be the Wayseeker. It might be, or it might be something about Padme, or Luke, or who knows what. The point being, he's clearly not worthy of it now. And if Vanée is willing to say, okay, well, kill me, basically saying, if you want it now, or if you want to kill me, okay, you probably won't be able to get into the vault then, but do your best. And then, of course, he doesn't. Kylo Ren takes that step forward, and that's an interesting point. I think this issue, in this moment where he does accept that challenge, does represent a transition moment for Kylo, in that it's he clearly
gonna play by the rules. Play by your rules for once. I guess there's
that, but also Vanée is tapping into his dissatisfaction, and that's the thing about wanting a quick response, wanting a quick solution. Wanting to kill the past is because you're dissatisfied with it. And so Vanée, kind of this underhanded thing, everybody's tapping into his dissatisfaction with all these kind of pointless killings and pointless. He's in the First Order. He's the Supreme Leader of the First Order, and he's still not happy. What do you want? What do you want, Kylo? Chris, I'll throw this to you. We're thinking about this a little bit about this vault and the that contains all the power he could want, but Vanée not. That is Vader's legacy, effectively, but Vanée not being willing to lead him to it yet and help him open it, then also instead redirecting him to this duel with this Jedi.
Well, first of all, haven't we gone to the said vault in Vader's castle, Joel, in Crimson Reign? Because there's a bunch of those Knights of Ren that get a key or something from there. Awesome. And then Vader comes out and force chokes and kills the Twi'lek one. They're there for something. They have to get something from a vault. I forget, it's like a key or a cipher or something.
Isn't it for the Fermata cage?
Yeah, I think it's something with the Fermata cage. Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly.
Also, Charles Soule doing his thing, right?
Oh yeah, so it's all connected. It's all connected. Because they're going to the same place. But I find it interesting because does he ever get there? Is my question, because
Mhm.
in the Rise of Skywalker, the castle is basically destroyed, right? Like
Mhm.
it's decimated.
Well, we
I
never
have a
see it
feeling.
on screen, so they could
Oh,
retcon
okay.
it to say it's just ruined, but it's still got its structure intact.
Because maybe that's the whole
Mm.
premise. Is like he's working really hard to get access to this vault, and in the end, the whole place gets destroyed somehow anyway. He never actually discovers this
Mhm.
unpotential power or whatever it is.
Mhm.
It'd be like a bait and switch. Like, you thought you were getting this, and then some crazy thing happens, and I don't know.
Well, that's possible. I mean, I play sequel trilogy cannons for a hot second.
Sure.
Okay, so we know he go to the Wayseeker. That's the year he's fighting the same dudes he fought in the first issue, to get to the Wayseeker.
Mhm.
The Wayseeker always looks like it's outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's in the Webbish Bog thing, right?
so
I
maybe
love the ball.
maybe it's not the Wayseeker and it's something else.
What could it be? That's
Yeah. Now that I think of it, it's probably not, because it's in the Webbish Bog and Corvex. Then, of course, we know. Speaking of Corvex, I mean that whole VR thing with another attempt of Vader's to get Padme back. It's so now that I think of it, it's probably not the Wayseeker, but who knows? I mean, that's the
So,
thing. Could be
sorry,
something. Anyway, sorry, Joel. I'll throw this to you. I mean, if you want to keep on chipping in with the canon stuff, but also, what did you think of all this thing with the vault and then the redirect?
Oh, I mean, if it's not the Wayseeker, maybe we can then rule out Vanée is working for Palpatine. Maybe he just is crazy and doing his own thing. That's going to be the question I'm still curious about.
Yeah.
Obviously, I trust Charles Soule to know that there's the looming shadow of Palpatine is very much still over everything. But no, I am very curious about the vault. Of course, who isn't? It's a vault. Everyone. That's like the ultimate mystery 101 thing. I've already kind of started to think of like, okay, is it something that Charles Soule has introduced before, because he likes to do that? He likes to self-reference himself, which is fine. All authors do that. Is it Momin's helmet? Is it something from High Republic? Is it a new thingy?
I think it's a holocron.
It could be. Oh, maybe it's a holocron of maybe Vader made a holocron.
Maybe it's a holocron of like some ancient Jedi, like Revan or Bane or something.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool
Maybe.
too. I'm very curious of like, but it's very interesting. He's like, hey, you can't have this yet. You'll self-destruct, which is true. I think Kylo Ren has not matured into his Sith master, or I'm not gonna call it Sith, his dark side mastery yet. He's quote Snoke, you're just a child.
Yeah.
Even though you're technically 30, but I guess 30 is the new 20. I attest to that. So, I'm very kind of curious to see, like, because I am kind of curious if, like, maybe another thing we're gonna see is, I am curious how much Kylo Ren is gonna come into his own more and more.
Yeah.
Like what? Like if real time, galaxy time, like what? A week has passed, maybe less than a week. It's hard to tell. It's been months for us, but like in the universe, like maybe a week. There's still a whole year for him to kind of come into his own and maybe like really start to take command of the First Order in a more mature way. There is even some lore in the visual dictionary about like, Kylo Ren did start coming into his own a bit more, and his command maturity did improve over time. So we might see that. It is kind of interesting. Vané's going to go with, well, do your tried and true, hunt down an Order 66 survivor. Fight someone who's not a scavenger girl who you might have a crush on. Fight a real Jedi. Fight an old school Jedi. That's sort of interesting, and I kind of like how Kylo's got a lot of bark, very little bite. I mean, those poor Sapsit and Boo eat it, but he's still like, all right, fine, I won't kill you, Vanée. Not yet. Trudges off. So, it is interesting. Again, it's kind of Kylo's immaturity compared to Vader, who, even though ironically was younger when he became Vader, I think Anakin, maybe because of the Clone Wars, weirdly matured faster, though he was still toxic compared to. I mean, Ben Solo lived a we're living in a galaxy of peace, so you didn't have to kind of mature quick. Where Anakin had to was a slave, and he had to deal with a war, and that matures you quicker. That trauma it messes you up, but it also makes you an adult faster, and that makes more problems. So yeah, that's my kind of spiel.
Yeah, I mean, even Ahsoka. I mean, think of everything we saw in Clone Wars. That's kind of underneath that.
Yeah.
Of course, we have this great flashback to the end of the Clone Wars and the march on the temple, and Vader looking like Anakin, of course, getting the 501st there, walking in the temple, and then of course again I mentioned the duel with Kirik and Fla, who I think we have seen in the High Republic. Yeah, I remember we have, but the duel with him from, of course, Charles Soule's comic, 2017 comic, that he really did go for really face down and confront the enemies of the Sith. And here Kylo Ren really has to confront the enemies of the dark side. He hasn't really done that. Interestingly, Joel, what species does that Jedi look like?
I don't know.
Thelan.
She's
a Thelan.
Okay.
For some reason, I like that Jedi is a Sith.
Looks like Jackie.
Okay. I thought it was like
she's got the brow protrusions. That's usually the telltale sign if they're a Thelan, if they have like the polka dot kind of skin with the long horn things on their eyes.
Yeah. I don't know. She kind of looked like those Legends Sith. That
would have been cool.
Purebloods?
Yeah, those guys. So
they have like tendrils, like little things.
Yeah, so I was like to Joel, I was like, that Jedi is a Sith. No, but yeah, it's So this is where we're gonna go. So the beginning of Rise of Skywalker, he walks into the conference room, and he's really taking charge there. And of course, by this point, they're used to him just going off which way. Saying reformed his mask, well done, Supreme Leader, and goes in there and wants to go after the scavenger, go after the girl. And at that point, Hux is okay, whatever, go ahead. I don't care. That being said, and we'll get to Hux very soon. Let's get to Hux now, right? That we know he's just biding his time in order to turn on him, because we see all this frustration mounting, and we see the beginning of it here. Because this is early, right? This is early in their new dynamic, where Kylo Ren is the Supreme Leader. Before they were kind of equal, the Tarkin and Vader to Snoke. Now it's Kylo Ren and Hux. Hux finally gets to plan and lead a real military campaign with serious stakes. Finally, with the invasion of Corellia, he makes this rousing speech to earn the affection of the troops, because there are no heroes in the First Order. And then on cue, Kylo Ren darts in to be the hero, and he succeeds in this mission, but it upsets Hux's masterful plan. And this was a fascinating kind of callback to issue number 1, really. We finally see the throne.
Yes, the throne is done.
Hailed, long live the Supreme Leader on this throne that Hux built. From there are no heroes in the First Order to long live the Supreme Leader on this giant theater piece. We realized actually there was a purpose to this. It was, Hux has to actually build the thing that elevates Kylo Ren's stature, right? We don't know if Snoke had a similar type of throne that was kind of public to the First Order. We know he had that throne room, but this is this out in front of everybody, and that's the moment I think he's going full Markion there, frankly. Like that reminded me of Markion, like the Gaze Electric Markion Beach sitting there, and then the Nihil. I mean, the First Order, they're disciplined, they're in their ranks, but I will be off partying, killing each other, or whatever. But similar kind of thing, right? Long live the Eye, long live the Supreme Leader. But then Hux confronts Kylo, the second confrontation here, about that Corellia mission, about how he swooped in and very calmly, very professionally asks the Supreme Leader to inform him when he's about to override the General's plans. And okay, you're going to do this, but please let me know. And Kylo isn't having it. He said, "This is such a tactical blunder." And then, of course, he goes off on the to find the Jedi survivor there. But Joel, I'll throw this one to you. This is a very the very sequelist moments here with Hux and Kylo. What do you think of this whole thing about the invasion of Corellia? The tension between Hux being the professional leader and Kylo being the rabid cur, kind of, you know, and all that, and then the throne and everything. What stood out to you there?
Oh, I mean, I think, well, first of all, I mean, just visually, it's like you get to see the Corellia thing from Ahsoka. We even see the same uniforms. We see the Y-Wings, which are probably part of the local defense forces. Yeah. That's all beautiful. I love seeing a First Order invasion, how this is all kind of working, and just how it builds the lore. But what I find interesting is, you know, I don't buy Hux's sincerity for a moment when he's giving that speech. I think he is. You know, Hux would love sitting on the throne for himself, going, "Long live Supreme Leader Hux! Long live." You know, there's even a moment in the Last Jedi novelization where he's like thinking, "Supreme Leader Hux one day." Yeah, he's got his eye on the big prize. But I find it funny how he's like, you know, it's not about me. It's about we. Yeah. And then Kylo Ren's like, no, it's about me. I'm gonna go Han Solo on everybody and just go yeehaw.
With dark side music though, not the rebellion.
You know, it's very just like it's hilarious. And I do think, you know, this is another connection, I think, between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. At least I hope so, where, you know, we are seeing again the diminishing of Hux's status in the First Order, where, you know, by the time we get to Rise of Skywalker, you know, that's where General Pride, played by Richard Grant, comes in, who, especially if you read the novelization, where that goes into it a lot more, he's sort of taken Hux's place as sort of in terms of like the pecking order of the hierarchy, and it's sort of more Kylo's confidant, slash kind of in charge more of the First Order's operations. And we know, because of the novelization as well, he's a Palpatine guy, so he's also been secretly working for Palpatine the whole time. So I think it's kind of cool to see just the continuing diminishment of Hux's position in the First Order, and why he by the end is totally okay with giving away secrets to the Resistance. Because he's just so sick of Kylo. It's like, oh, fine, forget it. I don't care anymore. I just want Kylo Ren to lose. And I thought it was just a very interesting seeing their dynamic and how he really is like trying to be calm about this, but you know, like he would just want to scream and shout and go on a tirade. But yeah, I thought it was very interesting, just the two of them, and I think their dynamic is really fascinating. I hope we get a lot more of it as the comic goes on.
Yeah, it reminded me of Thrawn a little bit, right? He's trying to take the Thrawn tack, but unlike Thrawn is actually trying to earn respect. Kylo's just playing a card, right? Or Hux is just playing a card. You know, so kind of like, again, the theme of letting this past story, you know, just taking at least the inspiration from this past character, like Kylo Ren takes from Vader. Hux, we thought he's the Tarkin, and Tarkin is kind of like this too, but you know, Thrawn was very much the lead by respect.
Hux wishes he was Tarkin and Thrawn.
Yeah, but his goals are just very different. I mean, Thrawn legitimately believes in the Empire. Hux just believes in himself. So, Chris, what do you think of everything with Hux and Kylo Ren and the invasion of Corellia and all that?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Hux speech was pretty, like, he's talking about like this togetherness aspect of the First Order and things that are clearly like he's got a different mentality, or he's just be blatantly lying or something. Like, it's kind of crazy to see, you know, that's where some things in real life come into play with this, where it's like, okay, I could see some dictators saying the same thing right now. Yeah, we are all together as one. Are we? Are we really? So I like that aspect of okay, let's see how arrogant and blind this guy is essentially. But then, yeah, I was shocked about the Kylo Ren and General Hux thing. I'm like, wow, Hux actually went there. Like,
Yeah.
Like at this point, like, is Kylo gonna kill me? Like, that's what I'd be thinking if I were him. Like, he had the cojones to speak out when he's done that sort of thing before and got reprimanded.
True.
He's really testing his superior's patience on that one.
Mm.
But yeah, just like Joel Davis said, the idea that, hey, even though this is a story about Kylo Ren, we could still seed in things for Hux. Like, we pick up literally at the beginning of Rise of Skywalker with him defecting. So this is going to do the heavy lifting of giving us the reasons why, like showing us exactly how much it'll take to break somebody to the point where like they are just done with the superior. It's like a boss that you really don't like. Your boss feels like he has like the worst intentions for a directive or something, and you're like, well, I'm so frustrated that I gotta mention something and talk to this boss. And I got a better way. What the heck, like So like it's very I feel like it's a very something that everybody can agree with that they've been with in their lives. That you're speaking out because they're like, this just doesn't feel right. I don't care if I'm out of line. I gotta say something. So very relatable. That's the word I was looking for.
I mean, in a healthy workplace, Kylo Ren would be completely in line to, or no, Hux. Hux would be completely in line to say what he said. Like for his number 2, he was entrusted to make this plan, entrusted to put this all together. It was going perfectly. It was going great. In swoops, Kylo Ren. I mean, again, it like you think we've said here, it really underscores Kylo's immaturity, his willingness to just rush in and make the quick take the quick action without considering the consequences. I mean, kind of like Han, kind of like what Poe does a week before at the beginning of Last Jedi, right? With the taking out the dreadnought there. Similar kind of thing. Of course, Poe has Kylo's mother to slap him in the face and say, "Sit down, bud." Kylo doesn't have that. He's left. If he had Leia there, maybe that he has Vanée, and we'll see how well that goes. He has this Jedi to deal with. So those are my notes. Well, through maybe kind of take in both of these issues and the comic so far. Chris, I'll throw this to you. What in its ambition to talk about how Kylo Ren is receiving the legacy of his grandfather, is trying to become his worthy successor, the limitations of it, and also setting up everything that is complicated. Let's say about Rise of Skywalker, everything that happens in Rise of Skywalker. How have you thought about this run so far?
Yeah, this issue 6 was kind of, as I said to you in a private message, like kind of make or break for me. Just looking back, having several months ago, and be like, all right, what has this done to really expand my love and joy of Star Wars? What has this told me differently about things in this era, or what has this told me about Kylo Ren that I didn't already know? And up until about issue 6, I was like, I'm really still looking for that big impactful moment, and I did get in issue 6 with the storming of Corellia. I know this is just like such an weeds moment, but it's like
interesting.
The fact that we're getting to see these like really big important locations in Star Wars, and this ties back into Resistance Reborn, with this storyline there on Corellia where the First Order had occupied the planet. So it's great that we're getting some legitimacy for that story that was almost sort of like a retcon, or it was almost like kind of retcon by its own movie that it was preambling, because like the writing and all that was all off, Snap Wexley and all. So it was kind of cool that it connected that way. And just seeing Kylo Ren there in a, I forget if it's a TIE Whisper or the TIE Silencer.
It's a silencer.
Okay,
It looks
the
like the
silencer from
silencer
Rise of Skywalker. Okay, so
from
him
Last
as
Jedi.
squadron commander, just going in and just wrecking the place.
Yeah.
And then basically going toe to toe with a Jedi Knight. I'm like, okay, this is good enough for me now. This is the stuff I'm looking for. I mean, I really did like stuff on Naboo. I guess I was just kind of thrown off by like what's happening here.
Yeah.
Stuff on Tatooine is pretty neat. I will say that, like the Gardula the Hutt stuff. So I do enjoy like the stepping through the footsteps of Vader. And this is the first arc, right? The first trade collects issues 1 through 6. So now we're out of the reign of Kylo Ren arc, and we're into whatever comes next. We know that we're gonna have more with the Knights of Ren. There's apparently a female Knight of Ren that we don't see in the Rise of Skywalker. I wonder what happens with her. So there is high potential, and I will say, like looking back, I think this did add a good amount to the Kylo and General Hux storyline, as we were talking in length about, but also about like, okay, how do Kylo and Vader differ? And I am thankful. I was really worried when this was announced, this comic series, like, oh man, are they just gonna make this like the Darth Vader 2020 run, where it's like half the pages are just flashbacks of Darth Vader? Like, I was really hoping that wouldn't happen, where the real state of the comic would be taken up by red-hued flashbacks of Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. And happy to report that it's been like 98% just Kylo Ren stuff. So yeah, I would say this is it's like a 7 out of 10 right now for me. Like it's a good solid rating.
Yeah, I mean, I sure hope to the Force that this isn't halfway through. I hope we're nowhere near halfway through.
Oh, okay.
That's the big question: is how long is this thing going to be?
Like 12 issues, but
I hope not, because if we can look back and say, because those first 5 issues are just set up, are just bringing him to this moment, and maybe it's a limitation, maybe it's just the way the story is, but it takes effectively this exposition from Vanée to explain what's happening on Naboo, with Naboo and everything up to this point. I mean, reflecting on what we've seen of him in Force Awakens and Last Jedi, just how unhinged he is, how impatient he is, just again like Luke in Empire Strikes Back, and the one moment that is kind of the spark that throws him into Snoke's arms. He was already being groomed by Snoke, but the ignite the green moment in the academy there. But if we just look at this as this is just the first 5 issues of, or 6 issues of an ongoing, okay, we're getting into the second act, if you will.
Yeah.
And so it's gotta be at least 25. I got at least 20, 24, yeah.
That'd be like
although Vader 2017 was 25, so yeah, but if that's the structure, if that's the length, then yeah, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with where we've gotten to, where now he's able to actually embark on getting some maturity and some leadership and some patience and tactical patience. And that's the thing with the threshold. He's now crossed the threshold of those trees to go into that village, to go on his hero's journey, if you will. I hope that's it. That's the structure. Again, we know the trade. It's the issues 1 through 6. I keep saying issues 1 through 5 because this does actually feel like the first step in the next part, but it can be a good transition if we're just introduced to the Jedi at the end, I guess. Yeah, capped off with the throne. Anyway, Joel, I'll ask you this: what have you felt about, given all those things about this run so far?
Oh, I've loved it. This has been my favorite thing to read every month.
Nice.
I think it adds a lot to the sequels. I think it's really showing, like I said before. I think I agree with the Corellia thing. I think the Corellia thing, when added to Naboo, and you put those two together, really retroactively make the First Order's conquest of the galaxy
Mm.
puts it in perspective. It puts a lot in perspective, which was mentioned in the first issue where Hux is like, like we lost Starkiller Base and supremacy, so we are like out of the ability to rearm ourselves. So we gotta get some factories and we gotta get logistics, otherwise we're gonna lose because war is won with logistics, people. That's how the real wars are won. So it's kind of showing like First Order is weirdly not as all powerful as the Empire is, despite like they are small but technologically advanced. Is how I've always loved to say. So it's like if the Empire had a bajillion troopers, First Order only got like 1 million, but they got like really powerful guns that can do a lot of damage. So that's how I've always. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Excuse me. Yeah, last week I was telling Matthew this. So like, the First Order. If you look at the trading card games, like Star Wars Limited, and other things, like it's clear that the First Order had a lot more resources with their ships, their TIE fighters specifically. Like you said, their actual like Star Destroyers and stuff. They put a lot more effort in their Navy. Like their Navy is very overwhelming in force from an aerial perspective. Like they come in, they just rake fire across and strafe and bomb, and then that's it. Like they do have like, and their troops seem like they're a little bit more elite than like the rank and file regular stormtroopers because they're lower in number. That's the way I always view them, is they're very good air support and stuff like that. But yeah, like you said, like they might not have the number to actually occupy a planet successfully in the end.
No, go ahead.
I just want to keep going about the comic, and then but I love that. I think that's giving us such great world building. I am seeing the seeds of like, because I do think right now we're very much in this is more a sequel to Last Jedi than a prequel to Rise of Skywalker. You can kind of see the Rise of Skywalker plot elements with Hux coming along slowly. There's nothing too concrete. Even is Palpatine involved? It's still kind of up in the air. There's little hints, but there's also like, doesn't seem like he's that involved in anything right now. He's just chilling on Exegol with his clones, doing his snoking thing. So that's very interesting. I do hope it's not 12. I mean, Charles said he knows how much he's getting, so I assume he had this all planned out. And maybe and if it is 12, maybe we'll think a different tune when it gets to 12. We don't know. Who knows? This has clipped by really fast. Where I feel like the arcs in the Vader run I felt like we were only on one arc for like 4 issues with the first guy with the lightsaber, the bleeding lightsaber arc. That was like 4 issues. Where it's like the Naboo thing was only 2 issues, the Tatooine thing was 2 issues. This Jedi one is 2 issues, so these arcs are a little more condensed, which I guess is nice. Keep it at a brisk pace. And also, I think again why this comic is really interesting as a sequel era take on a Vader thing is, I would have enjoyed it, but it would have been kind of boring if this was like Kylo Ren, year 1. Snoke is the Palpatine, and he makes Kylo do evil things. It's like, but we've seen that. We've seen that with Vader, and maybe it would still be different. But it's like, here's Kylo Ren. He is now the all-powerful supreme leader. He has no one above him. There is no one to say no. You can't do that. There's no master. He is his own master. He's his own boss. He makes his own hours, and I think that's what has made this comic, very fascinating. And just like you can see, like Kylo can do things Vader can't. Kylo acts sometimes more like Han Solo than he does even Darth Vader, with his way he dresses and the way he uses the blasters, more than his own lightsaber sometimes. So, overall, I've really enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to when that female Knight of Ren comes. Like she's the most interesting thing I'm excited for. So, I've loved it. 10 out of 10. Just go that far. Best comic. Go read it. Best comic.
I mean, that's why you're here, for be the resident sequelist and bring it all together there. You mentioned this question of logistics, right? And it's impressive world building. I do want to bring it back to character, because what that world building does, it sets up again this tension between Kylo and Hux, right? Kylo just wants to dart and be the hero. Doesn't matter the casualties. Almost wants the thrill of the chase. the thrill of the hunt, whereas the hunt is the thing. And in order to do that, you do need to think about logistics. You need to think about strategy. You need to plan and think about operations. And that's, again, Hux has this resentment brewing in part because he's right in terms of what the First Order needs to succeed. And it's being undermined by Kylo's immaturity and just wanting the quick fix. The thing is, Vader, what we saw, was able to do both. He was able to go in and wreck stuff up when that was the tactically the right thing to do. He was also able to, like I've mentioned, Thrawn. He was able to work with Thrawn and in the Zahn novels, for example, and follow his lead. Him and Tarkin were buddies. That's the wild thing, right? Unlike Kylo and Hux are at each other's throats here.
Yeah.
Vader understood.
There was respect.
Why? Yeah, Vader understood and respected why Tarkin was essential to the Empire. Tarkin understood why Vader was essential to the Empire. Now they both again have Palpatine to keep them under wraps, but Kylo Ren has no sense of why Hux is important, and I think partly what Vanée is maybe trying to do here is also, to instill that sense of patience and sense of you got to be smarter about these things. And yeah, maybe at the beginning of Rise of Skywalker, we see him able to do that. But clearly that's this tension that's really being explored in this comic, and then that's really effective. So I think we'll know overall, again, when this thing ends, what the whole sense of it is. But yeah, it's I'm enjoying it. And Chris mentioned the flashbacks. They're very tasteful. They're incredibly tasteful. Just like in the 2017 comic, the flashbacks to Anakin, I should say, were very tasteful. Yeah, Greg Pak, he went there a lot. Possibly, I think, to remind people about what happened in Attack of the Clones. I don't know. But also, going through with Sabe. But yeah, this one.
I have other ideas.
Yeah, fair enough. But this one, using very sparsely. So I think that's. Do you guys have any last thoughts, last comments on Legacy of Vader numbers 5 and 6?
I like seeing Corellia and Naboo in this era.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're going to some old school planets.
There we go.
So Matthew, you kind of know the area a little bit, but every time I go up to Brooklyn, I drive through Elizabeth, New Jersey, North Jersey.
Okay.
And I always think in my head, and I literally said this to my girlfriend yesterday or 2 days ago, we were driving with her. I'm like, every time I go through this area, I feel like I'm in Corellia. I feel like if you got a camera crew in there's a nuclear power plant. There's like a power plant. There's literally, I got to take a picture safely when I'm driving by.
Yeah.
Off the turnpike, there is what looks like a separatist core ship parked.
Wow.
Like a circle, a spherical core ship that's some kind of tank of something. Every time I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a separatist core ship. And here's all these like smoke, small chimneys. And I'm like, oh, we're in Corellia right now, everybody. Yeah. We're driving through Corellia on our way to Brooklyn.
I mean, that's where Newark Airport is.
It's literally right in that area.
Yeah. So it's very incredibly industrial.
Yeah.
A lot of water.
Yeah.
A lot of ports there. Yeah, I think I have a sense of what, because I've taken the train through there. Yeah, yeah. That's if I ever go through Newark, I'll remember that. There you go. Fun times. Yeah, great to see. I mean, Corellia again to get the lore hidden. Yes, it's where all the ships are made. So yes, good the First Order. Good for the First Order to have control of that.
And what's really cool, I think there's tie-ins to the Ahsoka season 1.
Yes.
Because I think those guys have the same uniform.
Yeah, Joel, you mentioned that. Yeah.
They were even in that same command tower that got blown up. Like,
think so,
that
yeah.
command tower they were in, I think, was the one that Ahsoka jumped out the window, maybe with the sabers, and the guy defected, or the guy was like, "We're the spy, die."
Well, he was an Imperial sympathizer, right?
Yeah. I think that might have been a safe place where Kylo Ren just blew it to smithereens.
So, I mean, maybe that's how they were able to invade so easily, is they had Imperial sympathizers still in Corellia.
Oh,
Possible. Anyways, yeah, that's Legacy Vader 5 and 6. Great conversation, both of you. I'm glad, Joel, I'm glad you're going to come on. Next week is all about, well, not all, but primarily going to focus on the High Republic finale, because I will have Trials of the Jedi finished. I promise. I could finish it tonight if I wanted to, but I won't. I'll finish it.
Do
soon.
it.
No, I'll have Trials of the Jedi finished. So next week we're doing the finale for High Republic Adventures. We're also going to continue Ghost Agents number 5, and
we have the finale for that one as well.
That's on the 30th.
Oh.
Oh no, Ghost Agents finale. Sorry, Ghost Agents finale. Yeah, that's true.
So we have
that's what you
two
meant.
finales next week.
Yeah.
Then we
Although
have ongoing 3 with Han Solo and Baller Valance undercover,
Yeah.
taking out some Imperial sympathizers or
Yeah.
whoever those guys are.
the-
It's gonna be a good week, man.
Yeah, and then we'll try and have a jam-packed episode. Try and get some San Diego Comic-Con preview there. There are going to be 2 San Diego panels that we're going to keep an eye on. Canon, eye on everything else. Speaking of eye on canon, as mentioned, Joel and I and hopefully Dom will be able to come in and talk about Trials of the Jedi. Give our review and talk. So that's why I have to have it finished by Monday. So don't you worry. I'm on part 5. I have like maybe 40 pages left to go. So there we go. But yeah, that does it for Tractor Beam Comics reviews. Chris, thanks for popping in, as you know, going strong. What number is this? This is 139. So this is our 49th 49th? No, 30. What? 89th episode that we've done together. Where can they find you on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, twitter.com/StarRaptor, talking about Superman. Just raving and ranting about it. You want to see I think it's like a 15-minute review. Spoilers. I do have spoilers in it because no one else could talk about the darn thing because I seen it at the prime early viewing. So none of my friends have seen it yet. So I'm like, hey, I gotta have an outlet to talk to myself about the story. So
that's why we're on YouTube. So that's why we're doing this. Okay.
So yeah, there you go. And yeah, I'll be talking more about that, I'm sure, as we move along closer to the next thing with Peacemaker season 2, which is out in August, and there is a panel happening in San Diego for Peacemaker. But anyways, yeah, that's where you can find youtube.com/StarRaptor.
Nice. Joel, resident sequelist, thanks for joining us. Where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me at JID20234 on Blue Sky, JID20234 on Blue Sky, and of course on the Star Wars Underworld Discord, where we talk all sorts of fun things like this comic. So join the conversation there.
Yes, the link in the description down below. You can find me on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at MNEUG1138. Also on Instagram at beaches.foodie, FOODIE, BEACHES.FOODIE. Bless your timeline with some chicken, some pizza, some other things. Ice cream, lots of ice cream there here in the summer. There we go. I'm still on the Bird app, NEUG485. Sure, because I'm tweeting San Diego Comic-Con stuff, I guess, trying to sort some things out there. So, yeah, if you're going to be at San Diego, just going to throw this out there. If you're going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, please do say hi. Please let me know. Please tell me how much you love Star Trek. There we go. Now, speaking of competitors, speaking of being hypocritical, Matthew, there we go. You're looking forward to that. Looking forward to next week. We are definitely going to keep going next week. If we can find this thing, where is this thing? There we go. Yes, High Republic Adventures 19 and 20, Ghost Agents number 5, and ongoing number 3, and yeah, some more talk about San Diego. Please do check out your local comic book shop. Pick up physical copies, physical issues of the comic books that we talked about this week, that we're talking about next week. And yeah, give that a look. Give Legacy Vader a read. Give Ghost Agents a read. If you haven't read Republic Adventures, start from the beginning. It'll take you a few years. No, I'm just kidding. It'll take you a while. But yeah, looking forward to chatting about those. Ongoing is only 3 issues in. Pick it up. You can pick it up right now. There we go. So BS. Until then, happy reading.